Captain Lee Dae-ho stood on the bridge of his ship, watching the empty space outside. The UES Indomitable was old. Her metal walls showed dents and scratches from many battles, but she still flew, and that was what mattered. "Captain," said Commander Park Ji-woo, walking up to him. "We're getting something strange on the long-range radio." Dae-ho turned around. Park was his best officer, a woman who could think fast when trouble came. If she looked worried, it meant something bad was happening. "What kind of strange?" Dae-ho asked. "It's a distress call, but not from any human ship. The computer says it's from the Villani system." Dae-ho knew about the Villani. They were peaceful aliens who lived far from human space. They made beautiful art and never fought wars. Most aliens in the galaxy liked them because they caused no trouble. "Put it on the main screen," Dae-ho said. The front screen lit up. A strange, alien face appeared. It had large, sad eyes and blue skin. The creature was clearly afraid. "Please," the alien said in broken common language. "Anyone who can hear this, we need help. They came from nowhere. They are killing everyone. Our children, our old ones, everyone. Please help us." The message repeated 3 times, then went silent. Dr. Yoon Nari, the ship's doctor, had come to the bridge during the message. She was a small woman with kind eyes, but Dae-ho had seen her work on wounded soldiers. She never gave up trying to save lives. "Captain," she said quietly, "I've studied the Villani before. They don't even have weapons. They've never hurt anyone." Lieutenant Kim Tae-sung, the youngest officer on the bridge, spoke up. "Sir, shouldn't we tell the Federation about this?" Dae-ho thought about that. The Federation was the big government that included hundreds of alien species. Humans had joined almost 100 years ago, but most aliens still thought humans were dangerous. They called Earth a death world because it was so violent compared to other planets. Many aliens were afraid of humans. "Send the message to Federation Command," Dae-ho ordered, "but also send it to Admiral Song on the flagship." Engineer Chief Choi Min-ho came onto the bridge. His hands were dirty from working on the ship's engines. "Captain, I couldn't help hearing that message. Those poor people." Dae-ho nodded. Choi was the best engineer in the fleet. He could fix anything with spare parts and creativity. He was also one of the kindest men Dae-ho knew. 3 hours later, they got a message back from Federation Command. The response made Dae-ho angry. "The Federation Council will meet to discuss the situation," Park read from her screen. "All fleet units are ordered to maintain current positions until a decision is made." "How long will that take?" Dae-ho asked. "The message says at least 1 week, maybe 2. Dr. Yoon shook her head. "In 2 weeks, there might be no Villani left to save." Another message came in. This one was from Admiral Song Hyun-woo, the commander of all human ships in this part of space. Song was an old soldier who had fought in the colony wars when Dae-ho was still young. "All ship captains report to my flagship immediately," Song's message said. "We need to talk." 2 hours later, Dae-ho sat in the meeting room of the UES Defender, with 5 other human captains. Admiral Song looked tired. His hair was gray, and his face showed the lines of many years fighting battles. "I've been talking to my contacts in Federation Command," Song said. "The Council is afraid. They think this might be the Krathan Empire." Captain Oh-jin A, commander of the destroyer Swift Strike, leaned forward. "The Krathan? I thought they were just stories." "No stories," Song said. "They're real. They live far away from Federation space. Intelligence reports say they have very powerful weapons and big ships. They think all other species are weak and should be destroyed." Dae-ho felt cold. "And the Federation is afraid to fight them." "The other species don't understand war like we do," Song said. "Most of them have lived in peace for thousands of years. They've forgotten how to fight." "But we haven't," said Captain Lim Soo-hyun, who commanded the fast scout ship Ghost Walker. Song nodded. "No, we haven't. Earth taught us well. We know how to fight when we have to." The room was quiet for a moment. Then Song stood up. "The Federation will talk for weeks while people die. I won't wait. I'm taking the 7th Fleet to help the Villani." "Sir," Park said carefully, "intelligence says the Krathan have 10 times more ships than us." Song smiled, but it wasn't a happy smile. "Then we'll have to be 10 times smarter. Captain Dae-ho, how many ships do we have ready to fight?" Dae-ho thought quickly. 12 battleships, 8 destroyers, 4 carriers with fighter squadrons, maybe 30 support ships." Against how many Krathan ships? Unknown, sir. But if they've attacked the Volani homeworld, probably at least 300. Another captain whistled softly. Those were bad numbers. Here's what we know, Song said. The Volani have been sending these distress calls for 3 days. Each message gets weaker. Some of our long-range sensors are picking up explosions in their system. Dr. Yoon, who had come with Daeho, raised her hand. Admiral, I've been studying Volani culture. They have about 2 billion people on their homeworld. If the Krathan are really trying to kill everyone, she didn't finish the sentence. She didn't need to. Song walked to the big window that showed the stars outside. I've been fighting wars for 40 years. I've seen what happens when good people wait too long to act. The Krathan won't stop with the Volani. They'll keep going until someone stops them. What about Federation orders? Asked Captain O. The Federation can court-martial me later if they want. Right now, innocent people are dying, and we're the only ones who can help them. Choi, who had also come to the meeting, spoke up. Admiral, our ships are old. We don't have the newest weapons or the best shields, but our crews know how to fight with what we have. That's right, Song said. The Krathan have probably never fought humans before. They don't know what we can do when we're angry. Lieutenant. Kim raised his hand. Sir, what's our plan? Song turned back to the group. We leave in 6 hours. We'll travel fast to the Volani system. When we get there, we save who we can and learn everything possible about Krathan tactics and weapons. And then, Daeho asked, then we figure out how to beat them. The meeting ended quickly after that. Everyone had work to do. As Daeho walked back to his ship, Park caught up with him. Captain, do you think we can really do this? Daeho looked at the Indomitable waiting for them. The old ship had been his home for 5 years. She had carried him through battles and brought him home, safely every time. Park, do you remember what we learned in military school about Earth's history? Which part? The part about how humans have always been good at fighting things bigger and stronger than us? Park smiled. You mean like when ancient humans hunted animals 10 times their size? Exactly. The Krathan might have better ships and more weapons, but they've probably never fought anyone who refuses to give up. 6 hours later, the human 7th Fleet left their patrol area. 54 ships headed toward the Volani system. They were going to help people they had never met, fighting an enemy they knew almost nothing about. On the bridge of the Indomitable, Daeho watched the stars change as they entered hyperspace. He knew they might all die in the next few days. But he also knew they were doing the right thing. How long until we reach Volani space? He asked. 4 days, sir, Lieutenant Kim answered. 4 days to plan a battle against impossible odds. 4 days to figure out how to save an entire species. Daeho had been in worse situations before. At least he told himself that as he watched the stars rush past outside. The human fleet dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Volani system. What they saw made everyone on the bridge go silent. Dear God, whispered Dr. Yoon Nari. 3. Volani planets hung in space like broken toys. The beautiful blue and green worlds that the Volani had called home for thousands of years were now black and burning. Huge alien ships, dark as metal and twice the size of human battleships, moved slowly around the planets like hungry sharks. Sensors, give me numbers, Captain Daeho ordered. Lieutenant Kim Tae-sung worked quickly at his station. I count 47. Large enemy ships, sir. Maybe 100 smaller ones. They're... He stopped and checked his readings again. Sir, they're not just attacking. They're being very careful about it. Commander Park Ji-woo moved to look at Kim's screen. What do you mean, careful? Look at this, Kim pointed to the sensor data. They could destroy those cities in minutes with their main guns, but they're using smaller weapons, taking their time. On the main screen, they watched a Krathan ship fire a green beam at a Volani city. The beam was not meant to destroy quickly. Instead, it burned slowly through buildings while small ships landed nearby. They're studying how we die, said a quiet voice behind them. Everyone turned. A small alien had appeared on their bridge. It was blue-skinned like the one in the distress message, but this one was real. It wore torn clothes and looked very afraid. Who? Are you? Daeho asked gently. How did you get on my ship? I am Ambassador Thren of the Volani Council, the alien said in careful words. I hid in your cargo bay when you docked at Station 7 last month. I have been waiting for someone to answer our calls for help. Dr. Yoon moved toward the WEM alien with her medical scanner. Ambassador, you look hurt. Let me help you. No time, Thren said. You must understand. The Krathen are not just killing us. They are learning. They test different weapons on different cities. They want to know the best way to kill each species in the galaxy. The bridge went quiet again. Engineer Chief Choi Min-ho spoke first. You mean this is practice? Yes, Thren said sadly. We heard their communications before our satellites were destroyed. They call this the testing phase. After they finish with us, they will use what they learned on other worlds. Admiral Song's voice came over the radio. All ships, this is Admiral Song. Prepare for combat operations. But remember, we are here to save lives first. Fighting comes second. Daeho turned to his crew. Park, I want you to plan rescue runs to get survivors off those planets. Kim, take your fighter squadron and scout the enemy ships. Stay far away, but I want to know everything about how they fight. What about their weapons? Choi asked. If they're testing different things... Ambassador Thren moved to the tactical display. I can help. Before I escaped, I was part of the defense planning. We tried everything we could think of. The alien's voice got sadder. Nothing worked. Dr. Yoon had been quietly scanning Thren with her medical equipment. Captain, I'm reading something strange. Ambassador Thren has been exposed to several different biological weapons. Biological weapons? Daeho asked. Diseases created to kill, Thren explained. The Krathen use them first, before the ships attack. They drop containers from space. The diseases spread quickly and weaken us before the real battle starts. Choi looked worried. Are you contagious? Will you make us sick too? No, Dr. Yoon said, checking her scanner again. These diseases only work on Volani biology. But... She looked at Captain Daeho with concern. If they're testing biological weapons on different species, they might have weapons designed specifically for humans. The ship shook suddenly. Red lights started flashing. Krathen patrol ship approaching, Kim called out. It's seen us. On the screen, a dark ship about the size of a human destroyer was turning toward them. It looked like it was made of black metal with sharp edges. Green lights pulsed along its sides. All stations, battle ready, Daeho ordered. But remember, we want to capture one of their ships if we can. We need to learn about their technology. The Krathen ship fired first. A green beam hit the Indomitables. Shields. The shields held, but Daeho could feel the ship shake. Return fire, he ordered. The Indomitables' main guns fired back. Blue beams hit the enemy ship's shields. The Krathen ship seemed surprised. It stopped moving for a moment. They didn't expect us to shoot back so quickly, Park observed. Or so accurately, Kim added. Sir, I think their shields are weaker than ours. The fight was short. The Krathen ship was powerful, but it fought like it expected an easy victory. When the human ship kept fighting back, the alien crew seemed confused. Their tactics became sloppy. Their shields are down, Kim reported. I can disable their engines, if you want to capture them. Do it, Daeho ordered. 2 precise shots from Kim's weapons put the Krathen ship dead in space. It was still alive, but it couldn't move or fight back. Choi, take a team over there, Daeho said. I want their computers and any weapons you can carry, but be careful. We don't know what they might do when cornered. Yes, sir, Choi said. Should I bring Dr. Yoon, in case there are prisoners? Good idea. But Yoon, wear full protective gear. We don't know what biological weapons they might have. 30 minutes later, Choi's team returned from the Krathen ship. They brought several computer cores and strange-looking weapons. They also brought bad news. The crew killed themselves when they realized they couldn't escape, Choi reported. But not before they sent a message to their main fleet. What kind of message? Daeho asked. Unknown. But it was coded and sent on a priority channel. Dr. Yoon was already studying the Krathen. Computer cores with Ambassador Thren's help. Captain, you need to see this. She put the alien data on the main screen. Even translated into human language, it was frightening. This is a testing schedule, she explained. They've been doing this for months, not just to the Volani, but to 6 other species. Each time they tried different weapons and tactics. They record everything. Why? Park asked. Ambassador Thren answered. Because they are planning something much bigger. They call it the Great Cleansing. They want to kill every species they think is weak or useless. The data showed lists of species, including humans. Next to each species name were notes about the best weapons to use against them. Look at this, Dr. Yoon pointed to the human entry. They've been studying us for years. They know about our wars, our weapons, our tactics. But look at what they wrote about us. Daeho read the alien text out loud. Humans. Dangerous but primitive. Strong but emotional. Recommend overwhelming force and biological weapons targeting their pack-bonding instincts. Pack-bonding instincts? Kim asked. They think our biggest weakness is that we care about each other, Park explained. They plan to use that against us. More bad news came from the other human ships. The Krathen main fleet had detected their presence. Enemy reinforcements were coming from the outer system. Admiral Song to all ships, the radio crackled. We've got 40 enemy vessels heading our way. We have maybe 2 hours before they arrive. Daeho looked at his crew. They were outnumbered 20-1. But they had learned something important. The Krathen expected easy victories. They had never fought anyone who hit back hard. Park, how many Vellani can we rescue in 2 hours? Maybe 10,000, if we use all our transport ships. Not enough, Thren said sadly. There are still millions alive on the surface. Then we'll have to buy more time, Daeho said. He opened a channel to Admiral Song. Sir, we need to hit them before they can organize. If we wait for them to attack us together, we're dead. Agreed, Song replied. All ships, we're going to hit them while they're still spread out. Remember, we're not trying to win a big battle. We're trying to save lives and learn how to fight these things. Dr. Yoon was still studying the captured data. Captain, there's something else. The Krathen have a base in this system. It's on the 4th planet. That's where they're doing their main experiments. What kind of experiments? They're trying to create the perfect biological weapon, one that will work on any species. If they succeed... She didn't need to finish. Everyone understood. The Krathen were trying to create a weapon that could kill every living thing in the galaxy except themselves. How long until they finish? Daeho asked. Thren checked the data. According to this, they need only a few more tests. Maybe days. The ship shook again as the engines powered up. Outside, the human fleet was moving toward the incoming Krathen ships. All right, people, Daeho said. We came here to save the Vellani. But now we know the truth. If we don't stop the Krathen here, every peaceful species in the galaxy will die. He looked around at his crew. They were scared, but they were ready to fight. Let's show them why Earth is called a death world. The battle started badly for the humans. The Krathen ships were bigger, stronger, and had better shields. Their weapons could punch through human armor like it was paper. But Captain Daeho noticed something important during the first few minutes of fighting. They're not adapting, he told Commander Park Ji-woo. Look at their attack patterns. They use the same tactics over and over. Park studied the tactical display. You're right. They fly straight at us, fire their main guns, and expect us to die. When we don't die, they just do it again. That's because they've never fought anyone who fights back, said Ambassador Thren from his station near the back of the bridge. Most species surrender when they see Krathen ships. Lieutenant Kim Tae-sung's voice came over the radio from his fighter. Captain, I'm seeing something weird out here. The Krathen ships are really fast in straight lines, but they can't turn quickly. And their fighters? He paused. Sir, their fighters are terrible. They fly like robots. Explain, Daeho ordered. They stay in perfect formation no matter what. When I break formation and attack from an unexpected angle, they can't react fast enough. It's like they don't know how to think for themselves. Dr. Yoon Nari looked up from her medical station. That matches what I found in their computer files. Krathen society is very structured. Everyone has a specific role, and they never change. From it, individual thinking is discouraged. Engineer Chief Choi Min-ho had an idea. Captain, what if we don't fight them the way they expect? Instead of ship-to-ship combat, what if we use the environment? What do you mean? Choi pointed to the sensor display. This system has asteroid fields, gas clouds, and unstable gravity wells. The Krathen are used to fighting in empty space where their big ships have all the advantages. Daeho smiled. It was a dangerous smile. Park, plot a course toward the Asteroid field near the third planet. All ships follow our lead. The human fleet turned and ran toward the asteroids. The Krathan ships followed, confident they would catch and destroy the smaller human vessels. But the humans knew something the Krathan didn't. Growing up on Earth had taught them to use their environment as a weapon. All fighters, scatter into the asteroids, Deho ordered. Kim, show them how humans hunt. What happened next shocked the Krathan. Instead of flying in neat formations, the human fighters spread out among the asteroids like pack hunters. They used the rocks for cover, appearing suddenly to attack and then disappearing again. The large Krathan ships tried to follow, but they were too big to move safely between the asteroids. When they fired their main weapons, they often hit rocks instead of human ships. The explosions created more debris, making the field even more dangerous for the large ships. "Sergeant Kang Soo-jin here," came a voice from one of the marine transports. "Captain, we're reading hull breaches on several Krathan ships. Request permission to try boarding actions." Deho thought quickly. Boarding enemy ships was very dangerous, but they needed to capture Krathan technology and prisoners. "Permission." "Granted, but be careful. We don't know what kind of biological weapons they might have inside their ships." What happened next became famous throughout the galaxy, though few people believed the stories at first. Sergeant Kang's Marines did something no sane species would attempt. They put on spacesuits and launched themselves through hard vacuum from moving ships to attack enemy vessels. The Krathan had never seen anything like it. "They're doing what?" came the confused voice of a Krathan commander over the captured radio frequencies. "The humans are attacking through space without ships," his subordinate replied. "They're using personal propulsion units and magnetic grapples." "That's impossible. No species can survive in hard vacuum long enough to—" The transmission cut off as Sergeant Kang's team cut through the hull of the Krathan ship and entered it. Meanwhile, Dr. Bae Young-soo, the fleet's weapons specialist, was studying the captured Krathan biological weapons aboard the science ship. "Discovery? This is incredible," he reported to Admiral Song. "Their biological weapons are very advanced, but they're designed to work only on specific species. They never considered that their own weapons could be turned against them." "What do you mean?" Song asked. "The Krathan have very similar biology to 3 other species they've already conquered. If we modify their own biological agents, we can use them against Krathan forces." Dr. Yoon felt uncomfortable with this idea. "Young-soo, are we really going to use biological weapons?" "That's horrible," Dr. Bae agreed, "but they brought biological warfare to this fight. We didn't start this, but we're going to finish it." The battle in the asteroid field lasted 6 hours. When it was over, the humans had destroyed 12 Krathan ships and captured 4 more. But the cost was high. 8 human ships were damaged, or destroyed, and many good people had died. Worse, the Krathan main fleet was still coming. Admiral Song called a meeting of all ship captains. They met aboard the carrier Brave Eagle, which was hidden deep in the asteroid field. "The good news," Song said, "is that we've learned a lot about how to fight them. The bad news is that we're still outnumbered 10-1, and now they know we're serious." Captain Lim Soo-hyun of the stealth ship Ghostwalker had been monitoring Krathan communications. "Admiral, they're calling us the virus species now. Apparently our tactics are spreading to other species." "What do you mean?" asked Captain Oh-jin-ae. "The Federation received our battle reports. Other species are starting to use our tactics against Krathan forces in other systems. Hit and run attacks, using the environment as a weapon, refusing to fight fair." Ambassador Thren spoke up. "This is what the Krathan fear most. They are used to conquering species that fight the way they expect. When everyone starts fighting, like humans, they lose their advantage," Admiral Song finished. "Good, but we still have a problem. Our spy satellites show the Krathan are bringing their main experimental facility online. Once they finish their perfect biological weapon, none of our tactics will matter." Dr. Yoon had been studying more captured Krathan data. "Admiral, I think I know what their ultimate weapon is designed to do. It's not just meant to kill. It's meant to remove the will to fight." "Explain." "The weapon targets the brain chemistry that creates bonds between individuals. For humans, that means it would destroy our ability to care about each other, to work together, to fight for anything besides ourselves." The room went silent. For humans, the ability to form bonds with others was everything. It was why they fought so hard to protect their friends and families. Without it, they would become as Cold and selfish as the Krathen themselves. How close are they to finishing this weapon? Song asked. According to their schedule, maybe 3 days. Then we have 3 days to stop them. Sergeant Kang, who had been invited to the meeting after her successful boarding actions, raised her hand. Admiral, what if we can't stop them in time? Song looked around the room at the faces of his officers. They were scared, but they were still ready to fight. Then we make sure the galaxy remembers that humans never surrendered. Even when facing the worst weapon imaginable, we kept fighting. Captain Day-Ho stood up. Admiral, I have a crazy idea. At this point, crazy might be exactly what we need. The Krathen think they understand us. They've studied our tactics, our weapons, our psychology. But there's one thing they've never seen. Which is? They've never seen what humans do when we know we're going to die but decide to fight anyway. Admiral Song smiled. It was the same dangerous smile Day-Ho had worn before the asteroid battle. Explain your plan, Captain. As Day-Ho outlined his idea, the other officers began to understand. It was indeed crazy. It was also exactly the kind of plan that only humans would attempt. The Krathen had studied human tactics and psychology for years. They thought they knew everything about how humans fought. They were about to learn they had only seen humans fighting to win. Now they were going to see humans fighting to save everything they loved, even if it killed them. The difference, as they would soon discover, was enormous. All right, Admiral Song said when Day-Ho finished explaining. We have 3 days to prepare. Let's show the Krathen why the galaxy calls Earth a death world. Outside the meeting room, the human fleet prepared for what might be their final battle. But for the first time since arriving in Villani space, they weren't just trying to survive. They were going hunting. News of the human resistance spread across the galaxy faster than anyone expected. On the bridge of the UES Indomitable, Captain Day-Ho received reports from Federation space that surprised him. Other species were fighting back against Krathen, forces using human tactics. Sir, Commander Park Jiwoo said, reading the latest intelligence report. The Altani bird people just destroyed 3 Krathen cruisers using asteroid slingshot maneuvers. They say they learned it from our battle recordings. Dr. Yun-Nari looked up from her medical station with hope in her eyes. The peaceful Zenthari refused to surrender when the Krathen demanded it. Instead, they're evacuating their civilians and preparing to fight. But the good news came with bad news. The Krathen High Command had finally realized that humans were more than just another species to conquer. Ambassador Thren translated the latest Krathen military communications with a worried expression. They're calling humans the virus species that spreads resistance wherever it goes. The High Executor has declared that Earth must be destroyed before the human disease spreads further. Admiral Song's voice came over the fleet communication system. All ships, this is Song. Long-range sensors are detecting a massive Krathen fleet heading toward Federation space. Intelligence estimates over 800 ships. Captain Day-Ho felt his blood go cold. The human home fleet near Earth had maybe 200 ships. Even with Federation help, Earth couldn't survive an attack by 800 Krathen vessels. How long until they reach Earth? He asked. 2 weeks, Song replied. But that's not our biggest problem. Intelligence reports that the Krathen experimental weapon is almost ready. Once they test it successfully, they'll mass-produce it and use it on every world they attack. Engineer Chief Choi Min-ho had been working day and night to repair the fleet's damaged ships. Captain, we've got maybe 30 ships still able to fight. How can 30 ships stop 800? We don't have to stop all 800, Day-Ho said. We just have to stop their ultimate weapon. Lieutenant Kim Tae-sung had been studying the Krathen research facility on the 4th planet. Sir, I've been analyzing their base. It's heavily defended, but there's something strange about it. What do you mean? The defenses are all designed to stop attacks from space. They never considered that someone might attack from inside the planet itself. Dr. Bae Young-soo, the weapons specialist, had an idea. What if we could get a small team onto the planet's surface before they knew we were there? Captain Lim Soo-hyun's stealth ship, the Ghost Walker, had been watching the Krathen facility for days. I might be able to land a team without being detected, she reported. But once they're on the ground, they'd be on their own. The plan that developed was dangerous beyond belief. A small team would land on the 4th planet and infiltrate the Krathen research facility. Meanwhile, the rest of the human fleet would attack the main Krathan force to keep them distracted. "Who volunteers for the ground mission?" Admiral Song asked. Almost every officer raised their hand. Dae-ho looked around at his crew. These people were ready to die to protect Earth and the other peaceful species of the galaxy. "I'll lead the ground team," he said. "No," Admiral Song replied firmly. "I need you commanding the Indomitable during the space battle. Sergeant Kang will lead the ground team." Sergeant Kang Soo-jin stepped forward. Her Marine unit had proven they could fight Krathan forces in close combat. "Sir, how many people can the Ghost Walker carry?" 20 Marines plus equipment," Captain Lim answered. "That's not enough to assault a major research facility," Commander Park pointed out. "Doctor, Yoon had been studying the layout of the Krathan base. Maybe we don't need to assault it. What if we could disable their ultimate weapon without fighting our way through their entire army?" "How?" "The weapon is biological. It requires very specific environmental conditions to remain stable. If we could disrupt those conditions..." Dr. Bay understood immediately. "The weapon would become useless and they'd have to start over from the beginning. Giving us time to evacuate Earth and prepare proper defenses," Admiral Song concluded. "I like it. Kang, pick your team." While Sergeant Kang selected her Marines, the rest of the fleet prepared for what everyone knew would be a desperate battle. They were about to fight the largest Krathan force ever assembled with less than 30 ships. The attack began at dawn on the 4th planet. Captain Lim's stealth ship slipped through the Krathan sensor network like a ghost. The advanced human stealth technology, combined with Lim's exceptional piloting skills, got them to the planet's surface without being detected. Meanwhile, in space, Admiral Song led the human fleet in a direct assault on the Krathan main force. The space battle was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. The humans didn't try to fight the Krathan ships directly. Instead, they used every dirty trick they could think of. They rigged asteroids with explosives and launched them at Krathan formations. They used the planet's gravity well to slingshot small ships at incredible speeds past enemy defenses. When Krathan ships tried to surround them, the humans scattered in all directions and regrouped in unexpected locations. Captain Dae-ho found himself commanding a group of 5 ships against a Krathan battle group of 20 vessels. The odds were hopeless, but his crews fought with the desperation of people defending their homes. "Kim, use the planet's magnetic field to disrupt their targeting systems," he ordered. "Yes, sir." Lieutenant Kim's fighter squadron dove toward the planet's magnetic poles, forcing the Krathan ships to follow. The magnetic interference made accurate shooting nearly impossible, turning the battle into a wild chase through the planet's upper atmosphere. On the surface, Sergeant Kang's team had infiltrated the research facility. What they found there horrified them. The Krathan weren't just developing a biological weapon, they were testing it on live prisoners from dozens of different species. Hundreds of aliens were locked in containment cells, slowly dying as the Krathan perfected their ultimate weapon. "We have to save them," one of Kang's Marines whispered. "Our mission is to destroy the weapon," Kang replied. But she was looking at the prisoners, too. Many of them were children. Dr. Yoon's voice came through their radio communicators. "Kang, I've been monitoring your suit sensors. The biological agent is stored in a central chamber with very precise temperature and pressure controls. If you can reach the environmental systems..." "I understand, Doctor, but there are hundreds of prisoners here. We can't just leave them." From space, Admiral Song's voice was strained. "Sergeant, we're running out of time. The main Krathan fleet is breaking through our defenses. You need to complete the mission now." Kang made a decision that would be remembered for generations. "Team Alpha, destroy the environmental controls. Team Beta, free the prisoners. We're not leaving anyone behind." "But Sergeant," one of her Marines protested, "if we try to save the prisoners, we might not escape ourselves." "Then we don't escape," Kang said simply, "but we make sure the weapon is destroyed and the prisoners are free." The battle inside the research facility was brutal. Krathan guards fought desperately to protect their ultimate weapon, but they had never faced human Marines in close combat. The humans fought with a ferocity that shocked their enemies. When the environmental controls were destroyed, the biological weapon began to break down. Alarms sounded throughout the facility as the Krathan realized their years of work were being destroyed. But the hardest part was still ahead. getting hundreds of weak and terrified prisoners out of the facility while Krathen reinforcements poured in from all directions. "This is impossible," one Marine said as they fought their way through corridors filled with enemies. "Nothing's impossible," Kang replied, firing her weapon at a group of Krathen soldiers. "We just haven't figured out how to do it yet." In space, the human fleet was being slowly overwhelmed. Ship after ship fell to Krathen weapons. But they had achieved their goal. The Krathen were so focused on the space battle that they hadn't sent enough reinforcements to the surface. "Captain Lim," Admiral Song's voice came over the radio, "you need to evacuate the ground team now." "Already on my way, sir," Lim replied. The Ghost Walker was racing toward the research facility at maximum speed. When she arrived, she found Sergeant Kang's team holding the facility's landing pad against overwhelming odds. They had freed all the prisoners, but now they were trapped. "There's no way my ship can carry all these people," Lim said over the radio. "Then make 2 trips," Kang replied. "We don't have time for 2 trips. The Krathen fleet will be here in minutes." That's when the prisoners themselves provided the answer. A Villani engineer who had been held captive for months spoke up in broken common language. "Human ship too small, but Krathen transport ships in facility hangar. We can fly them if you show us how." It was another impossible plan. Teaching alien prisoners to fly Krathen ships while fighting off enemy soldiers. But impossible seemed to be what humans did best. 10 minutes later, a ragtag fleet of stolen Krathen transports lifted off from the research facility. They were piloted by freed prisoners who had learned to fly in the middle of a battle, escorted by human Marines who refused to abandon anyone. As they escaped into space, the research facility exploded behind them. The Krathen ultimate weapon was destroyed, along with all their research data. The Krathen fleet reached Earth faster than anyone expected. Captain Daeho stood on the bridge of the UES Indomitable, watching the massive enemy force drop out of hyperspace near humanity's homeworld. 800 dark ships spread across space, like a plague of metal insects. "Dear God," whispered Commander Park Ji-woo, "look at the size of that thing." At the center of the Krathen fleet was a ship larger than anything humanity had ever built. It was the size of a small moon, covered in weapons that could crack planets in half. "That's their command ship," Admiral Song's voice came over the radio. "Intelligence calls it the World Killer. It's commanded by something called the Supreme War Form Apex." Dr. Yoon Na-ri was reading the sensor data with growing alarm. "Captain, that ship isn't just big. It's powered by enslaved artificial intelligences. They're using captured AI minds as living computers." Captain Ojine's voice came from the orbital defense platform, Guardian 7. "All ships. We're detecting massive energy buildup in the World Killer's main weapon. They're preparing to fire on Earth's surface." Daeho felt sick. From space, he could see his homeworld, blue and beautiful and completely helpless against the massive weapon pointed at it. But then something unexpected happened. "Sir," Lieutenant Kim Tae-sung called out, "I'm reading ships dropping out of hyperspace, all around us. A lot of ships." "Krathen reinforcements?" Park asked. "No, sir. These are Federation vessels, and others." The tactical display lit up with hundreds of new contacts. Ships from dozens of different species were arriving to defend Earth. The Villani had sent their remaining fleet. The bird-like Altani brought their fast attack ships. Even species that had never fought before were coming to help. Ambassador Thren, who had stayed with the human fleet, was crying tears of joy. They came. All the species that learned to fight like humans. They all came to help. Admiral Song's flagship, the UES Defender, moved to the front of the combined fleet. "All ships, this is Admiral Song. Today we fight not just for Earth, but for every peaceful world in the galaxy. The Krathen think they can break our spirit with their big ships and terrible weapons. Let's show them they're wrong." The battle for Earth began with the World Killer firing its planet-cracking weapon at the surface. But Captain Oh Jin-ae was ready. "All defense platforms, activate the shield network," she ordered. Earth's orbital defense platforms, built during humanity's violent past, created an energy shield around the planet. The Krathen weapon hit the shield and was deflected harmlessly into space. The Supreme War Form Apex was shocked. No species had ever deflected the World Killer's main weapon before. "Impossible," came the alien voice over captured Krathen radio frequencies. No primitive species has technology that advanced. Elder engineer Ryu Dongmin, who had helped design Earth's defenses decades ago, smiled from his command post on Luna Base. They're not primitive defenses, alien. They're human defenses. We've been preparing for this fight our whole lives. The space battle that followed was the largest in galactic history. Thousands of ships from dozens of species fought against the Krathan fleet. But the aliens still had the advantage in numbers and firepower. That's when Dr. Bae Young-soo revealed his secret weapon. During the weeks since the battle at the Krathan research facility, he had been working on something incredible. He had learned to hack Krathan biotechnology using human neural patterns. The Krathan think in very rigid logical patterns, he explained to Admiral Song. But human thoughts are chaotic, emotional, creative. Their systems can't filter or predict how we think. What does that mean for the battle? It means I can upload a virus into their command ship systems, a virus based on human creativity and emotions. The plan was incredibly dangerous. Someone would have to get close enough to the world killer to upload the virus directly into its computer core. That meant flying into the most heavily defended ship in the galaxy. I'll do it, Captain Daeho volunteered. No, Admiral Song said firmly. I'm the fleet commander. This is my responsibility. With respect, sir, the Indomitable is the oldest ship in the fleet. If anyone can get through their defenses, it's us. Engineer Chief Choi Min-ho spoke up. Captain's right, Admiral. This old ship has been through everything. One more impossible mission won't kill her. Dr. Yoon had been studying the World Killer's design. If you can get me close to their computer core, I can upload the virus. But you should know what it will do. Explain. The virus doesn't destroy their systems. It forces the Krathan to experience human emotions and creativity. For a species that has suppressed all individual thought for thousands of years, the experience will be overwhelming, Daeho finished. It might drive them insane. Or it might free them, Dr. Yoon said quietly. The final assault began with every human ship attacking the world killer at once. They knew most of them would be destroyed. But they didn't care. This was for Earth. This was for every peaceful species the Krathan had murdered. Captain Lim Soo-hyun's stealth ship, the Ghostwalker, led the attack. Her job was to punch a hole in the world killer's defenses so the Indomitable could get through. This is Lim, her voice came over the radio. I'm going in. Tell my family I love them. The Ghostwalker, loaded with every explosive the humans could find, rammed directly into the world killer's shield generator. The explosion was so bright it could be seen from Earth's surface, but it worked. A gap opened in the massive ship's defenses. Now, Admiral Song ordered. The Indomitable, her armor already cracked and her shields failing, dove through the gap. Krathan fighters swarmed around her like angry insects, but Lieutenant Kim's squadron held them off. We're through the outer defenses, Daeho reported. Choi, get me as close to their computer core as possible. Already on it, Captain. But, sir, this ship won't survive the run. Too much damage. Then we make sure the mission succeeds before she dies. The Indomitable smashed through, the world killer's inner hull like a bullet through paper. The old ship's armor, designed for the brutal wars of humanity's past, held together just long enough. Dr. Yoon worked frantically at her station. I need 30 more seconds to upload the virus. 30 seconds, Daeho repeated. You heard her? Everyone, 30 more seconds. The ship shook as Krathan defenders poured fire into her dying hull. Sparks flew from damaged systems. The air filled with smoke. 15 seconds, Dr. Yoon called out. Hull breach on decks 4 through 7, Park reported. We're losing atmosphere. 10 seconds. Main engines offline, Choi announced. Emergency power only. 5 seconds. The bridge filled with enemy fire as Krathan soldiers broke through the hull. Upload complete, Dr. Yoon shouted. The virus spread through the world killer's systems faster than thought. Every Krathan on the massive ship suddenly experienced something they had never felt before. Doubt, creativity, wonder, love, fear, hope. For the supreme warform Apex, the experience was devastating. His entire life had been dedicated to destroying other species. But now, forced to feel what his victims felt, he understood the beauty he had been destroying. Stop, he ordered his fleet. Stop the attack. Warform, we do not understand. One of his subordinates replied. I said stop, Apex screamed. Can't you see what we've done? Can't you feel what we've destroyed? Across the Crathan fleet, similar scenes played out. Soldiers who had never questioned orders suddenly saw their actions. As they truly were, some went insane, others surrendered. Many simply stopped fighting and stared in wonder at the stars they had never really seen before. The battle for Earth was over. The Indomitable drifted in space, her hull cracked open like a broken egg. Emergency shuttles from other ships rushed to rescue her crew. Captain Day-Ho was unconscious when they pulled him from the wreckage, but he was alive. So were most of his crew, including Dr. Yoon, whose virus had saved not just Earth, but the entire galaxy. In the weeks that followed, the Crathan Empire collapsed. Young Crathan, exposed to human emotions and creativity, rebelled against their elders. A civil war erupted in Crathan space, but it was a war between those who wanted to continue the old ways and those who had learned to see beauty in the galaxy. The Federation was changed forever. Species that had once dismissed humans as barbaric now sought their alliance. The tactics that humans had used spread throughout the galaxy, but more importantly, so did their values. The idea that every life was worth protecting, that the strong should defend the weak, and that no one should be abandoned. Captain Day-Ho recovered from his injuries and was promoted to admiral. But he chose to return to the Outer Rim, where human ships continued to patrol the dangerous frontier. The galaxy was safer now, but there were still people who needed protection. On the bridge of his new ship, the UES Indomitable II, he received a message from Earth. It was from a school child who had watched the battle from the planet's surface. "Thank you for saving us," the message said. "When I grow up, I want to be like you. I want to protect people who can't protect themselves." Day-Ho smiled and looked out at the stars. The galaxy was a big place, full of wonders and dangers, but now it was also full of species who had learned that sometimes the only way to preserve peace was to be willing to fight for it. Humanity had taught the galaxy how to be strong. Now they would teach it how to be kind. The reputation of Earth as a death world remained, but its meaning had changed.